welcome, Home and Podcast listeners, to part 2 of our very special Christmas edition episode. We are covering I'll Be Home for Christmas, starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas. If you haven't listened to part 1, make sure you go back and listen to part 1, and then you can enjoy part 2. We've got another about 45 minutes to cover, and we're going to finish up the film and give our highs and lows, and then talk a little bit about end of the year stuff. So, hope you enjoy. So we continue the journey.
Yeah. Throughout, sometime around this point, the cop says that he, after hearing from the child the sort of sad Christmas thesis, the guy says, I need to go see my ex, and she's in Nebraska. And JTT says, what? What are you laughing at?
Well, this is ridiculous, but yeah, Nolan drops him off because Nolan's going to go home, I think. He's going to go back west. Yeah. And so this leaves Jake in a bad situation. He doesn't know how he's going to continue east, and this is when the cop, like you said, decides he wants to go to Nebraska to rekindle his relationship with his wife.
He says, I'll get, he's so smooth and so good with words that he's going to convince his wife to get back with him. And there's some kind of a deal, like if he does that, he'll buy him a bus ticket for somewhere. So here we go. The wacky adventures continue.
Oh boy, and are they wacky when we get to Nebraska?
Yeah, I don't even. Let me see here. I don't know that I have a lot of notes.
Well, they go to a restaurant in Nebraska,
like a diner, right?
Yeah, where Max's estranged wife works. Mm-hmm. And
talking about Marjorie.
Marjorie, and do you have any credits for her, or you just wanted to name her?
I can give you some credits if you're interested.
I'm so interested.
Leslie Boone.
Oh.
Best known for Gonna Be Worth It when we get there. Hey, Fences, Oscar-nominated film from 2 years ago. Agent Carter, which is probably something you really like. Medium, Ed, and she was in the TV show Kevin Probably Saves the World, which I'm not familiar with, but it looks like it has Jason Ritter in it. So there you have it.
There you go. So what was her name? Marjorie? So Jake is sent inside to try to reconcile Max and Marjorie. I don't know why Max decides that he can't go in there, but he just sends Santa in there. She's not interested, and he goes back out, and he's like, it didn't work. You need to go in there and do something. So they go in there together, and the idea here is to sing, I guess. He tries
I don't know when we find out, but he cheated on her with her sister or something. It's something quite bad, right? He's not.
Yeah, I don't know if it was her sister.
Not the great guy we thought he was, though. I thought this guy was going to be a great guy, this cop, just like real police officers. But
much like all of us, he's got a checkered past.
He's a rotten apple.
Rotten tomato, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait till later.
All right. So they go in, and he tries to sing something. I don't think I wrote that down, but eventually it works, and they make up and they make out, and again Jake has saved the day somehow, and he gets his bus ticket, and onward he continues to New York. So he's making his way. They cut back to Eddie and Allie, and they had to stop and spend the night at
they're in Iowa.
They're in Iowa, this town in Iowa, which is basically like a Frankenmuth to us, I would say.
Yes, exactly right, yeah.
But it's not to Iowans, I would imagine. But
it's the Iowa Bavarian Festival, I believe?
Yes. Yeah. So everything's, Bavarian themed, and they get a room in this hotel, and there's only one room left or something because it's so busy. And before that even happens, I guess, Jake is watching TV.
Yeah, this is absurd. He's in Nebraska, and they're televising this Iowa Bavarian Festival on the local TV in the diner.
Every time he sees Allie is absurd, because we should also say, as he's continuing and he gets his ride from Nolan, they see Eddie and Allie driving right next to them, and they try to catch up with them and stuff like that. So it's he just keeps bumping into her somehow. I don't know what the chances are.
As he's watching this TV, I don't know.
It's a news program.
Mistletoe? Yeah, there's some mistletoe.
This news reporter is talking about the festival, and then she turns and there's like, oh, these two are under the mistletoe, and they realize they're under the mistletoe, and then Jake's worst nightmare is realized.
I mean, they do they kind of make out. Like, it's not just like a peck. Like, it's a real kiss. And it was kind of out of character. If Jay Beale hates him as much as she says, I don't know why she let him lay one on her so good, you know?
Maybe she's just feeling vulnerable right now because Jake has really broken her heart again.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie's probably a better guy than JTT. Honestly, I mean,
yeah,
it's closer than
pretty
the movie
awful.
it's closer than the movie wants you to think it is. It's like, well, I don't know, kind of the same thing, but
two sides of the same coin. It seems like she could probably just pick any random guy at that Bavarian festival and be a better off. But
yeah, like Klaus. There had to have been a Klaus there somewhere.
So, as I was saying, they do get a hotel room. There's only one room left, so they're gonna have to sleep in the same bed together.
Yeah, no way somebody could sleep on the floor, you know.
It's probably a chair in that room too. I don't know. There's options.
It looks pretty big.
I don't know. This is when I was worried that PG was going to turn into PG-13, but it didn't. So
this is when I worried it was going to turn into NC-17. I won't even tell you what I thought was going to happen.
I'm glad you won't.
Yeah.
So they're on the bus. Jake is now very certain that he needs to continue his bus ride, but he also needs to stop the bus from going to New York and go to Iowa. How is he going to do that? I don't know.
This is also a real low point in the movie. I kind of looked at my phone for like 5 seconds, and by the time I looked up, I was like, "Wait, what happened? What did he do?" I mean, it's like. I don't know. I give the writers credit. This is a very imaginative way to get a bus to go somewhere, but
yeah, they put things together that you would never put together. But Jake looks around in this bus as he's trying to think of a plan, and he sees
he's such a schemer, Jordan. He's so clever.
He's very clever. He sees a man eating, I guess, a raw sandwich, and then he sees a cooler, and I don't know if there's anything else that he needs to see at that point.
A lot of ice in the cooler. That's all I need to know.
Ice in the cooler. So I don't know if he gives this guy something or steals the food from him, but he puts it in the cooler. He addresses it to Allie because that's where he needs to get to, and he addresses it to this Bavarian festival. And this bus driver, I guess we should talk about him a little bit. This bus driver is really just wanting to get to New York. It feels like he's in control of the bus.
He's got a job to do.
He strikes me as someone who has a really hard time with having no control with anything else in his life. So this bus is kind of the only thing he has control over. So if anyone's trying to threaten anything as far as changing the route or doing anything off of his plan, he's not in for it.
He's kind of lording over them. But you know what? If he doesn't get that bus to New York, it's his ass, Jordan.
It's true. And then the only thing that can convince him is JTT comes up with this cooler and says, hey, I've got a liver transplant and we're not going to make it unless we go a detour.
Even that doesn't really convince him at first. The whole bus has to get behind him and they start chanting liver, liver.
Well, specifically, a military commander of sorts has to come up and talk to him about duty. And
I think it was Duke Nukem, wasn't it? Commander Duke Nukem?
If it was, that's a video game, isn't it?
It's a crossover.
Yeah, it's a great crossover. So yeah, he's finally convinced this bus driver. They go to Iowa, and I don't remember what he says.
I just mentioned Duke Nukem. Okay, all right, carry on.
I'm glad Michael's still there. Throughout this film, I don't know if you noticed this, but it just it was just weird to me. They keep calling him Santa, which is strange.
It is weird. It's as if everyone in the world of this movie has never seen someone dress up as Santa Claus. I mean, there's nothing convincing about JTT as Santa Claus. He's just like a small 18-year-old boy. There's no billowing stomach, no beard really or anything. But yeah, he does get the Santa treatment throughout. It's just okay, Santa. It's I don't know about that. But,
it's so weird.
Yeah, the liver transplant. I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been on a bus, and someone has wanted to deliver a liver to someone, and you know what? This is just another one of those kind of circumstances. So he gets off the bus. This is where I wrote the writing is bad, the dialogue. So apparently I didn't like the dialogue in this scene.
Well, I mean, at one point coming up, I believe the line, you're a genuine butthole is uttered. Is that what you were talking about?
I mean, I kind of like that. That might be good dialogue, actually. It's authentic.
You're putting that one next in your screenplay.
JTT very quickly finds their room, and he busts in, and, it's like a Three's Company kind of thing where, Alex, or rather Eddie, like walks out of the bathroom. He's wearing just a towel, and he's like jacked as shit. No, I'm just kidding. She is shirtless, but he's very hunky. And
Allie is convincing Jake that nothing happened, although I'm not sure that nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean, something happened. We all saw it. She got busted. She got busted. She's tomcatting around. She got busted.
And this is kind of, in his haste and his anger, he lets slide that, he's really only going home for the Porsche. And Allie gets very angry, and she's out and leaves Eddie behind and Jake behind.
She takes over his bus ticket. She's like, give me your bus ticket. I'm taking
his spot. The bus driver's okay with that.
You know what? The bus driver is just so lamenting his liver decision that he's like, we just got to get to New York. I don't care.
Well, he knows that Jake was the instigator, so he wants him off that bus.
Yeah, he's a troublemaker, like Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah. So Eddie and Jake, unlikely together, hop into the car together, and they start driving, and they're kind of bonding for a moment.
They kind of have that moment where it's like, you and I, we're not so different, are we? It's like, no, you're not. You're pretty much the same. You suck.
And so much the same that Eddie is like, no, I can't do something nice for you, and I'm going to kick you out of my car. So he pulls over. There was about 2 minutes where Jake seemed like he might get home, and then now he's on the side of the road again. But good news, he is in a town with a lot of Santas.
They're making their way across the country so fast. Like, he starts in L.A., and he's in Wisconsin, like, I don't know, like a night later. Like, I think only like 1 day is supposedly passed, right?
Man, they've been driving all night long.
I guess so, at like 200 miles per hour also.
In a jet plane. Yeah, so it's the next day, it's daylight, and there's Santas everywhere, and this instantly makes Jake happy, especially when he sees the sign and learns that this is a Santa run. It's a Santa 5K, and the winner gets 1K. So, very convenient, because we should mention Jake has made it all the way here without any money. Or ID.
Miraculous. He's just, you don't need money when you have a mind like that guy, and just, you're just fast-talking schemer. I should say this is probably... I would say this is my favorite part of the movie. This was fun and kind of funny. So, he signs up for the 5K. He doesn't have the entry fee, but another Santa he tries to, like, sweet-talk the woman into letting him in, but she's not falling for it because she has a brain, and he's not that good at convincing people as much as the movie wants us to think.
It's about time that this movie was, like, I don't know, genuine realistic. Or real.
Yeah, I know. But another Santa pays for him to go, and it's like you said, it's a Santa 5K. There is a Kenyan Santa.
With the helmet on.
Yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to do with that.
All the other Santas are white. This is the one Kenyan Santa, I guess.
It might be tasteless. I don't know.
The real thing, I mean, we get this later, but we learn that this must be the first... Either this Kenyan doesn't usually win the race, or he's just... They're not continuing the stereotype because he doesn't ever win. Instead, the other Santa, Mayor Jeff, wins every year. Yeah,
right. So, you're right. I hadn't thought about that. So is the Kenyan finishing behind Mayor Jeff?
Or he just traveled specifically for this one.
Just for this one and somewhere.
Also, I'm pretty sure that this guy does not have a Santa suit on.
He didn't?
I don't think so, because he's wearing a helmet, and I think the stipulation is you have to cross the finish line with your hat on.
I think you just made that rule up because that's what you had him do.
No, because remember...
You were thinking, if I had a Santa 5K, this is what I would do. And you kind of sketched it out.
All right, let me show you why I am right here, because they start running the race. All these Santas pretty much are overweight, except for Jake. He's the only young person running in this race besides the Kenyan. And him and the guy who bought him a ticket are kind of up there in the front behind this guy, and he runs into somebody or something, and so he's out of the race. So it's just down to Jeff and Jake, and they're running at the same speed, and then Jake takes the lead, but he loses his hat, so he has to turn around and get it. So this makes it very, the drama
and the mayor
here.
Stops and watches as it happens. For whatever reason.
For a second, and then he continues running, so now he has a lead. Jake makes up the lead and wins the race with the hat. So why else would he go back for the hat unless he had to cross the finish line?
I guess you're right. I thought they were going to do like a Seinfeld thing where
it felt like it, didn't it?
Somebody went up and get some water, but it's like hot chocolate or something. That would have been funny. That's how lawsuits happen. But.
I think they were handing out cookies instead of water. Okay. That was one of the things.
That'd be great when you were running to get a cookie. That's really helpful.
Well, there's also a joke before they start running that there's like these Santas eating like a bunch of pasta and doing the carbo load joke that we get on The Office for when they do that 5K.
Right.
So it's, these people don't know how to run. But JTT's eyes, as he tries to win this race, they do like a slow motion thing here, and it's pretty incredible. He's just like, it's joy, it's exhilaration, and he wins the race. He wins the $1,000, and now he should be able to get a flight to New York. It's convenient that they were running this 5K.
A lot of convenient things happen in this movie, Jordan.
I'm surprised they didn't write a check. They give him the 5K or the
the prize should have just been a ticket to New York. That's the only way it would have been better. Like, winner of this 5K gets a ticket to New York City today.
That would have been one step too far.
Yeah. Oh man.
What do we learn?
He takes a taxi or a limo or something. I guess it would be a taxi, not a limo. I don't know why I have a limo in my head, but that would not make sense.
He just came into some coins, so he's going to use it on that limo.
The driver, through exposition, reveals that it's a shame that the mayor didn't win because he always donates his $1,000 to
feeding
food pantries, sort of thing. Yeah,
in the town.
And this is where JTT kind of has to look inward a little bit. And,
this is the first genuine thing he does all movie. It took an hour and 8 minutes. I wrote it down for him to do like a nice thing.
Yep.
And he goes to Mayor Wilson's house and gives him, I don't know, what does he give him? The money? All the money? Some of the money, not all of it.
All the money in the world. I think all of it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He does give it all.
Mayor Wilson, be funny if he was like, all right,
I'll keep this $100.
Okay, here's $300 for you. I'll keep the other $700. That'll feed like 5-6 families. I don't know. That's something, right?
That would have been more believable because that's what he does in the rest of the film.
Right.
But Mayor Wilson, true to his nature, given by the taxi cab, he invites Jake in. He says, "We'll set a place for you," and maybe Jake should have just taken that offer. But he wants the Porsche. He wants to get home.
Yeah, he'll be home for Christmas in his dreams. Yeah. He ends up at the airport in Madison, and he calls his sister, who's not a character in this movie, really, and he's like, "Hey, can I borrow some money?" And like, you ever notice how in movies, like, little sisters always have money? Little brothers or little sisters always have like money stowed away from like their lawn mowing or babysitting or something. I feel like that's such a trope. And she's no different. She has money, and he says, like, "Wait, can you buy me a ticket or whatever?" And she's like, "Yeah, so that you owe me big time
forever. Like, I'm gonna lord this over you for the rest of your life."
I know. It's like, how about you just ask for your money back, like, in like a week or something? That'd be a better deal.
So presumably she makes a call and buys a ticket, and he gets to retrieve it by password.
I had some questions about this. Yeah. So when it didn't work out, I was like, good for you, movie. You're not going to have us try to swallow that bullshit. Like, where she an 8-year-old's going to call an airline and going to pay for his ticket, and then they're going to have a password. That was going to be a lot to swallow. And
I was wondering if they do this.
We don't have to. Yeah. Yeah. You've never done this?
The thing is, they do have passwords in this film, so I don't. Maybe this is a thing that I've never heard of before. But he goes and says the password, which is like, I don't know. She says like basically, "I'm a big fat stinky head" or something. That's what she says.
It is that level of password. Yes.
Yeah. So, but again, he has no ID, and is it better that he can't get on the flight and then sees a cargo thing? I mean, is that better, Adam?
Yeah, at one point the movie is sort of trying to be realistic, and it's like, no, you can't. It doesn't matter what year it is. You can't.
You're in too far.
You can't get on an airplane without a driver's license or ID. But then the very next thing they ask you to swallow is that he's able to get into the dog crate and ride, beneath the plane and
in the cargo hold.
In the cargo hold, we're expected to believe that. So he does it. And did we get some dog farting here? I believe.
Yeah, the dog does fart. I thought the dog would poop, and I thought that would be better. But no, the dog farts. He's still got the Santa suit on. He must be very stinky.
It smells like farts. Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, dog had some refried beans and just ripping it in there. And JTT's like, oh man, I should have stayed home.
But the next thing he has to do is get from the cargo hold out off the tarmac, and so he lets the dog loose. It sends everyone scurrying who's down there, and he's able to escape the cargo hold safe and sound without getting arrested, and make his way. He's now in New York, so he can make his way home, I guess. And he tries a couple of different ways to get there because he still has to get from like the airport home. And
yeah, I think he supposedly lives in like a New York suburb, like a suburb of New York City, I believe. So like he's like trying to take the train out to the suburbs, and he gets booted because he doesn't have a ticket, and it's not going well, as it hasn't gone well for days.
He's getting further though. He's getting further and further, and then eventually he is kind of in his hometown. He makes it there, and he sees the final piece that'll get him home to his house. There's a Christmas parade happening at 8:00 at night or something.
I know, on Christmas Eve.
Eve. Yeah. And there's a sleigh anchored by a horse, and so he hops in and steals it. And this is going to come back later in a really satisfying way. But
in about 2 minutes when the movie ends, it'll come back in a really satisfying way.
For now, he's going to make his way to his parents' house. Oh wait, he did surprise me here because he goes to Allie's house first.
Yeah, she's already there. We don't see her after she gets on the bus. We don't see her again. So she's home. Spots him from the window, comes out, all is well. They make up and make out a little bit, and it's water under the bridge, Jordan. No big deal.
But she's not. I don't think she's fully bought in until they pull up to his house in the sleigh together.
Yeah,
and she says, "All right, tell me when it's 6:00 or whatever."
Yeah,
and he won't go inside,
and he says, "Tell me when it's 6:01." Wow. I didn't expect that at all.
So he doesn't want the Porsche.
No, the curveball. Trouble with the curve.
He's seen an error in his ways. He wants to see his family and not have it be about the Porsche. And the Porsche is sitting there all shined up in the yard. I hope it doesn't snow; it'll ruin the car. But
the dad is really leaning into the whole Porsche thing. He's like, "Hey son, I even waxed her for you. She's looking beautiful. Please come and see me. I'll kill myself."
He should have sent pictures, but I guess that's the
90s, so he can't. Like pictures like, "Ooh, inside of the Porsche, looking clean.
Hope you can make it.
Hope you make it." Wink, wink. So JTT comes in at 6:01. His dad, Gary Cole offers to give him the Porsche, but he says, "You know what, Dad? I don't even want it. I just wanted to be with you for Christmas." And I just figured that out about 5 minutes ago.
He also says that we have many
together.
Well, yeah, there's many more years of him coming home for Christmas so they can work on the car together. So not only is he going to be home for this Christmas, but all future Christmases.
Earlier on, there's a thing where when JTT calls and he talks to stepmom, she's like trying to find out his sweater size. Yeah. And the first thing, so he comes home and, he talks to his dad and he looks at her and he says, I don't know what he says. Like, I'm a large. What's your sweater?
Like 38 large.
38 large. Like, what's your sweater size? And it's like that's how they're gonna bond now by knowing each other's sweater sizes. That's him showing interest in his stepmom. I know, she almost cries.
She almost breaks down right away. So,
she's so wanting attention and affection and just like acceptance from him that like the sweater comment is just like she just like melts into his arms. And then as the film ends, they get back into the.
I was pretty sad because it looks like they were having a nice feast, and they just leave the food and go outside.
Well, you can't leave. How many chances you get to go on a sleigh ride on Christmas Eve, Jordan?
And with your whole family and your girlfriend too.
With your whole family and your girlfriend, so they get in there, and he's I don't know where he's taking them or where they're going.
The parade comes. Well, first the parade comes around.
Right. Yeah.
And like the people leading the parade are really mad at him, but. But they say, like, if you weren't wearing that Santa suit, I'd, beat you up or something.
Boy, you'd have something coming to you. One of my favorite parts of this movie is, like, Gary Cole. It's the end of the movie. They're outside. Gary Cole is, like, trying to convey something, and he's just sort of looking at the sleigh, and he's like, "Oh, what's this all about?" It's just, they just, like, get in the sleigh, and the movie ends. It's like, oh, man. Poor Gary Cole. And Jordan, roll credits fade to black. I'll be home for Christmas.
Whew. Yeah. And the ending credits, this is another trivia note, but it's the JTT NSYNC, JT NSYNC, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, which, Jessica Biel married Justin Timberlake. So just another crazy trivia thing that happened in this movie.
Sliding doors, though, like, what if she married Jonathan Taylor Thomas? We'd be living in a different world. That's for sure.
We sure would be. Yeah. JTT couldn't handle that spotlight.
Sure he could. No,
he doesn't want it.
He does not want it. We have it on good authority. That's a Home and Podcast exclusive. JTT does not want attention. Okay? So just leave him alone. But you know what? We're not here to talk about JTT anymore. highs and lows for this movie, Jordan. What did you... Let's start with what we liked.
Well, where do I begin?
Merry Christmas, happy
the Santa hat comes back too
holidays.
at the end. The little Santa hat.
Yeah, duh. You gotta have that as a bookend.
Yeah, that's a high for me.
Also, I think the movie might end with an overhead shot of them and the...
I think, it zooms out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
I think, the Santa race is probably the best part of the film. It's just kind of funny to see all the Santas running around, and then you get JTT, like, sprinting, so that's kind of comically, unintentionally comedic. And, the Vulture, I like the Vulture's performance in this film.
Yeah. Vulture, this was sort of a defining moment for that Vulture. So he would go on to... Oh man, I think he was one of the guys in The Hangover, wasn't he? Is that Galifianakis, Bradley Cooper, and the Vulture? Wasn't that the three of them?
I think so. Ed Helms, They replaced... Initially, Ed Helms was in the first one. They just replaced him with the Vulture.
Yeah, he didn't screen test that well, so they got the Vulture in, and then, you gotta get dug off that roof, of course.
There was a crazy scene with that tiger and the Vulture. It was really like an Animal Kingdom moment.
Yeah, well, it was also weird when the Vulture got, like, his face tattooed in the second one. That was, like, kind of weird. I don't know, animal cruelty or something.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
We'll do anything to not talk about highs and lows for this.
Really, honestly, I don't have any other highs. Like, I thought this was worse than A Christmas Prince, honestly.
Okay, well, then I guess we do differ in that regard.
Tell me your highs.
Highs. The Santa race... I don't know. It's hard because I'm kind of a sucker for, like, I sort of like these, like, road movies a little bit, where, like, people have to go from one place to another place in a fixed amount of time, i.e. planes, trains, and automobiles. That's really the only other one I could think of, but I really like that movie. So I kind of like, I like the conceit. So I like him working his way across the country. Was it executed especially well? No. What would be a high? The Santa race. Jessica Biel's pretty good, I guess. I don't know. She does what she needs to do. I kind of like the guy that played the cop as well. I thought he was a little bit funny.
All right.
Lows. Yeah, I mean, you have an unlikable protagonist for approximately 90% of the movie, which is a pretty big problem.
It's usually a problem with a film.
It's pretty... The jokes are bad. It's pretty corny. Most of the writing is subpar.
Completely unbelievable at almost every point.
It's not grounded in any kind of reality whatsoever, except for the part with getting in the dog and the airplane. That was, I think that could conceivably happen. It's short. That's good. I mean, no, it's pretty stupid, but like I feel like Christmas movies are held to a different standard than most movies, so I thought it was fine as a Christmas movie, but apparently you feel differently.
Yeah, it was just hard. Maybe it was just because I watched A Christmas Prince and then this the next night, so it was like back-to-back really awful, hard-to-stomach movies, so I don't know. But that's I'll Be Home for Christmas. That's enough of our thoughts. Let's hear what the critics had to say.
Let's do it, Jordan. So here I have... Roger Ebert reviewed this film on November 13th, 1998. Let me also say the poster for I'll Be Home for Christmas, kind of cool. JTT's leaning up against a cactus. You got the Vulture on top holding a Santa hat. So, yeah, I mean, you're getting the Vulture in the poster, obviously. It's Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Mark the Vulture in the lower right-hand corner.
It was not enough screen time for the Vulture, if you ask me. I feel like the Vulture should have came at some point.
It's kind of one of those misleading things where, like, I don't know, like they put somebody on the poster, but they're only in it for like 5 minutes or something. Kind of, I felt like the wool was pulled over my eyes. All right, I'll read the Ebert review here. So I'll read the first and perhaps the last paragraph. Let me find it. Pleasantville is a movie about a bland 1950s world in which lives go around in circles until time travelers break in with the virus of change. Some writers have attacked the movie, arguing that things were better in the 1950s than they are now. Well, they might enjoy I'll Be Home for Christmas, an exercise in cinematic Ovaltine. What his argument is throughout this is that the movie is just like really corny and not really grounded in any kind of a reality. He does like Jonathan Taylor Thomas in it. He says, "Oh, it'll have its fans. The star, Jonathan Taylor Thomas from TV's Home Improvement, is an immensely likable actor, but even his easy grin seems to weary a little by the later stretches of the film, which is unrelentingly corny." Final paragraph here. "There is possibly an audience for this movie. Not really. But I have the oddest feeling that on opening night, the people in the theater will be all in black and white. Go see Pleasantville if you wonder what I mean. In fact, see Pleasantville anyway. I'll Be Home for Christmas will appeal to people who fail to care if nothing good happens in a movie, just as long as nothing bad happens in it." So, kind of no stakes. I think he actually also used this review for Pleasantville. I think this is a dual review.
Yeah, 2 in 1. So he likes Pleasantville, maybe, and not so much this one.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Other, 23% on Rotten Tomatoes, audience score of 41. I'll just read a couple of these here. Lisa Schwartzbaum from Entertainment Weekly. "This family comedy finds unearned laughs in old women and dog flatulence." Sure. Lyle Lowenstein of Variety. This is a positive one. "Arrogance gives way to humility, making this an appropriate, if thoroughly cliched Christmas morality tale that sugar-coated with an attractive cast spouting sitcom-quality dialogue." Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Lewis B. Parks of the Houston Chronicle. "None of the cast comes off well, but they have little to work with since the dialogue sounds like it was made up on the spot and performed without rehearsal." And lastly, Liam Lacey of Globe and Mail. He calls this a Christmas turkey. So
I thought you were going to say a Christmas turd. But,
Christmas turd. Accurate as well.
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo? Something like that?
Right. I wish he would have been this. It would have added some flair.
Howdy how.
All right, what else we got, Jordan?
Yeah, let's move on to Sean's social media corner. If you'd like to reach out to us, go to thehomeandpodcast.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter at Home and Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, we are still allowing new donors on Patreon for $1 a month to get all of our old episodes, all of our bonus episodes. So go there. We just did a Christmas Prince. We've done others as well. That's patreon.com/homeandpodcast. Adam?
Yeah.
What you been doing on Twitter?
Twitter, things have been going well. Let me find our poll here. I asked Patricia Richardson what she wanted for Christmas. She said Trump and Pence gone the total reset we deserve. She doesn't. She doesn't past her. She does not engage with the silliness of Twitter necessarily. She's playing it down the middle.
No.
Let me find the poll here. It's a ways down. Quite a ways down, in fact. What were your grades like in school? 24 total votes, Jordan. 4% said school wasn't for me. 21% said mostly C's. 21% said straight A's. And 54% said A's and B's. So this is an honor roll podcast.
Smarties.
Yeah, honor roll podcast.
Oh, does that mean we need to create a new sticker, Home and Podcast honor roll?
Yeah, baby. Put it on the back. Proud parent of a Home and Podcast honor roll student. Other than that,
cause a lot of confusion.
We just been tweeting the episodes. I wish everyone a Merry Karnmas today. I'd like to decree officially that December 18th is Karnmas. So mark your calendars accordingly moving forward.
What kind of traditions? We all dress up as the Karn Man.
Flannel.
Yep.
Billy, that's all you got to do. Yep. Make it easy for people. So next year we're starting
Karn Man is accessible.
A generosity movement on December 18th, and that's Karnmas. That's officially Karnmas. So
mark your calendars. Get Remind us when December 18th rolls around because we will
I will not
remember
this moving forward. So, when you say official decree, doesn't that mean somewhere someone writes it down, or is that not how that works?
You'd think so. Maybe Snowpuff the Elf will write it down.
You keep saying that. I don't know what that is.
That's what when Jake is pulled over by the cops. That's what he names Nolan.
Snowpuff the Elf?
Yes, he does.
That's that sitcom level dialogue, right? They're talking about.
Just trying to make it all throughout the episode with little "I'll be home for Christmas" jokes. They don't land, just like the movie. Adam, I don't think we ranked our Christmas films.
No, we need to rank them now. The options. Right this very second, we've covered El Camino Christmas, Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. So give me your 4 through 1, 4 being the worst, 1 being the best.
Worst, I'll Be Home for Christmas, easily. Probably third El Camino Christmas, and then the two Santa Claus. Obviously, the Santa Claus original being the best one.
Okay,
that's where I put them. I mean, El Camino Christmas and the Santa Claus 2, very different films. Mm-hmm. Maybe on the same quality level, I guess, as far as like how much I liked both of the films, but just very different, very different. Maybe one, the Christmas spirit of the Santa Claus 2 maybe etches it a little bit higher for me. What about you?
4, the Santa Claus 2. 3, El Camino Christmas. 2, I'll Be Home for Christmas. 1,
Unbelievable.
Santa Claus. Yeah, I know, we divert. I don't know what... I'm a little more forgiving of this one than you. I just really don't like... I really dislike the Santa Claus 2 that we covered last Christmas, so I think that, to me, this just seemed a lot better.
Yeah, you had nowhere to go but up.
You know what? We don't have to always agree, Jordan, and that's what's great about this podcast.
We don't always agree, but we are always civil. So
that's right.
Something this country could learn from, huh?
There are a lot of lessons to be learned from this podcast.
All right, we've got one final thing before we end, with some Christmas music here. So we've got a new review on iTunes, and one way you can support us besides going to patreon.com/homeandpodcast is leaving a review on your favorite podcasting app. We were hoping that our Christmas gift would be getting to 35 reviews on Apple Podcasts. Yeah. I think we're stuck at 32 right now, so we're not quite there. Christmas is coming very soon. I guess by the time you hear this episode, it'll be a day or two away. So,
well, what better way to treat yourself and us on December 24th than by, getting on your phone, escaping from your loved ones, and leaving us an iTunes review,
I can't think of anything better. So,
Christmas is about trying to get away from your family that you haven't seen in a long time, right? Like, you go home and you're like, okay, it's nice to see you, Mom and Dad, but also, like, I need a break. So when you get the break, do this.
No wonder you really identified with Jake from I'll Be Home for Christmas.
The only reason I'm going home for Christmas this year is because my dad promised me his GMC van.
What a gift that'll be.
Get home by 8 p.m. and you can have this Denali.
All right. So here's our new review. This is by dpay42069. Maybe a zip code? We can look up where they're at in the zip code, maybe? I don't know. What do you think?
Let's not, you creep.
All right. This is 5 stars titled Nice Job, written December 17th. Great podcast with some good banter. I've been watching these episodes on Hulu, and it's great to hear the review of the episodes afterwards. Very much looking forward to Mark's goth phase. You and me both, Deepe.
You and me both, brother. Yeah, that makes 2 of us, my man. You said it, Deepe.
All right, so great to have another 5-star review. Again, go to any podcasting app, but specifically we're looking to get 35 on Apple Podcasts. So can you do us a favor? It'll take just a minute. We'd appreciate it. You don't even have to write anything.
For the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could leave less than the price of a cup of coffee.
Free.
You could leave us an iTunes review. Pretty much free. Yeah. So I mean, what, you don't even have to pay to do it. Wow, that really makes it easy.
What's stopping you? I dare you to leave us a review on iTunes.
I bet you $50 you won't leave us a 5-star iTunes review. You cowards. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you cowards.
Colin cowards. Jordan, we might see each other over Christmas. It's going to really depend on me. So.
Yeah. Well, I do have a rent-a-car when I'll be in Michigan, so I guess I could make some sort of overtures toward you. Meet halfway.
We should definitely talk about this on air, figure it out, let everyone know where we're going to be, and then we can do like a meetup.
Yeah, I think it's about time that we got all of our fans together.
A Frankenmuth meetup. Wow. Meet everybody at Zender's.
Oh, baby. It's going to be a real family-style affair there.
Jordan, just to vamp a little bit, what's your thoughts on Frankenmuth?
My wife really loves going to
Bronner's,
yes, that's correct. She has, a tradition.
And for context, what's Bronner's, Jordan?
Bronner's is a year-round Christmas store. They've got lots of ornaments from, anything you can imagine. You can make your own. They've got ornaments.
And they posit it's the biggest Christmas store in the world, I believe.
That's right. And they've got, they've got some food there you can get. They've got trees. They've got all Christmas paraphernalia everywhere. So that's a place you can go. It's only closed like twice a year.
They brag about how how it's never closed, which is great for their employees.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for them.
Yeah,
but that's every year my wife would go there and get a new ornament, so that's always a big thing for her. I don't really care to go there, like that's not anything for me, but we'll be going there.
Ebenezer Scrooge over here.
I'm a little bit of a Scrooge in that remark. I do like the little what is it, the Silent Night Chapel that they have there. I think that's kind of cool. But
yeah.
I do like Zender's. I like the good dinner there. They have again for listeners, they have a nice family style dinner where you get this delicious fried chicken and
what's the other one? There's Zender's, and what's the
Bavarian
across the street? Bavarian Inn. I think Zender's is better.
Yeah, I think my wife said she got sick at Bavarian Inn, so we'll never be going back there.
Not going there.
Zender's
it's good.
Zender's is good. The town has some other stuff. I think there's a brewery there. There's a couple other shops with some knickknacks and some candy and some stuff like that. And it's it's Bavarian themed, so you'll get a lot of German stuff there. I don't mind going there. It's not too far. Yeah. So what about you? I mean, do you like it?
Yeah.
That's all we need to hear from Adam on that subject.
Yeah, man, I like it. Yeah, no, I like it. I think when I was little, I thought it was kind of... When I was like a teen, I thought it was kind of lame, but now that I'm older again, I sort of appreciate it. We don't go very much. I don't know if we'll go this year, but we went a couple of years ago, and if nothing else... They got
carriage rides, too.
If you go there in December, it will get you feeling... It feels Christmassy when you're there, so if you need to flip that switch or whatever, if you're like me and it's 45 degrees in Milwaukee or Jordan, it's probably even warmer down there. And
71
snow.
Now.
Yeah, so going to Frankenmuth will get you in that Christmas spirit. So yeah, it's a good time.
One of the strangest things about Frankenmuth is that they have a billboard in Florida.
Really? Where?
Somewhere on the... So, we used to drive down here like twice a year, and I would always see somewhere on our drive... It wasn't quite to Orlando or anything. I think it was a little bit further north in Florida. Yeah. But there is a sign that says, like, Frankenmuth, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what in the world?
That's so weird. I remember when I drove to your house, there were just a bunch of, like, strip club billboards.
Yeah, a lot of they're targeting the truckers. They'll be like, I don't know, trucker parking and all that kind of stuff. And
right.
So they have Frankenmuth, scattered in there as well.
Yeah, Frankenmuth and strip clubs. You like both of those things probably equally.
Two sides of the same coin, really.
Two sides of the same coin. You said it, mister. Oh man, Jordan, I don't want to get off the line because that means that this is it for 2018. And
it's kind of crazy. We've made it to the end of another year. This has been... Is this 2.5 years now doing this?
I don't count because it just makes me feel sad.
Well, we've done 100 and I don't know, maybe 20 episodes if you count the bonus episodes, and we're over halfway done with the actual TV show, so it's at some point going to come to an end.
Yeah, we'll finish it when your daughter's going to high school. I think we'll be done.
Yeah, well, it'll support her going through college, by the way things are going.
If she better go to a community college, or like you better teach her from home.
I was going to say I'm going to teach her YouTube style. So
I've heard that's very effective. Some people swear on it. Well, Jordan, we should find out what episode we're covering next.
Yeah, we'll be back to our regular scheduled programming. So next episode is going to be a normal episode of Home Improvement. We're going to be covering Tanks for the Memories.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that one. And that will first Wednesday in the new year. We'll talk about that. And thanks everybody for listening to this very special Home Podcast Christmas edition. Jordan, look forward to potentially seeing you in Michigan. Listeners, hope you have a very Merry Christmas or a Happy Holiday and a safe and pleasant New Year. And we'll see you in 2019. Take care, everybody.
Take care.